As we are about to begin, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few housekeeping notes to make before we begin with this webinar. Firstly, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing this webinar. Please switch off the microphone and switch on the camera throughout the event if possible. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Thank you very much. To everyone knowledge, do stay tuned until the end of this webinar as you might have a chance to win cash prizes during our Kahoot sessions. Best wishes to everyone. We're going to start this webinar at 8 p.m.
Aku takut keluar ad ni. Aku takut keluar ad tu ni.
I would like to remind again, as we are about to begin, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few housekeeping notes to make before we begin with this webinar. Firstly, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing this webinar. Please switch off the microphone and switch on the camera throughout the event if possible. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Thank you very much. To everyone knowledge, do stay tuned until the end of this webinar as you might have a chance to win cash prizes during our Kahoot session. Best wishes to everyone.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Saida, welcome. The webinar will now begin with the singing of National Anthem, Negaraku and Wawasan serta UiTM. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Anthem, Negaraku and Wawasan serta UiTM.
UiTM kita bangsa perkasa, taat dan setia untuk negara, penuh semangat wajar. Kita jangan mudah terlupa pengorbanan perjuangan anak bangsa. Kita jangan mudah terlena kemajuan keamanan yang ada. Kita berterima kasih pada pemimpin-pemimpin negara. Kita rasa penuh bersyukur kerahmatan kemuliaan darinya. Kamilah bertemu pewaris bangsa, kamilah perawat bangsa Malaysia, kamilah warga berbangsa.
Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera, salam sehati sejiwa and salam UiTM Dihatiku. Welcome to Malaysia Automotive Policy Towards Sustainability webinar. I am Zulaikha Zulkifli and I will be your MC for tonight. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Our honorable speaker, Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF bin Abdul Malek, Administrative and Diplomatic Officer, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, MITI, Associate Professor Teknologi Profesional Dr. DEVARAJAN Anak Lelaki RAMASAMY, Senior Lecturer Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, University Malaysia Pahang, our honorable guest Dr. Sohaida binti Muhammad Amin, Faculty Coordinator of Business and Management, our honorable guest Mr. Muhammad Isham bin Abidin and Madam Khalilah binti Ibrahim, Advisor of International Business Unity Club, Dr. Nur Melissa binti Muhammad Faisawi, Project Advisor of Malaysia Automotive Policy Towards Sustainability webinar, fellow lecturers, student from Class Master of Business Administration, UiTM Cawangan Melaka Campus, Bandaraya Melaka, fellow committees and students. Praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. We have been graced by the chance to gather in this beneficial webinar to begin our journey with blessing and protection. I would like to invite Saudara Ahmad Zarif bin Zainal Abidin Sabli to lead the doa recitation. Please welcome.
A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala washabihi ajmain. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful. Allahumma antal azizul jali. Indeed, we gather ourselves on this eventful evening for the Malaysia Automotive Policy Towards Sustainability webinar. We would like to express our gratitude and praises towards your precious blessing. Allahumma ya Hakim ya Azim. Indeed, we gather here to express our earnestness, commitment and determination with our souls to develop, educate and to dignify the people of our beloved motherland, be virtuous and meritorious to our religion, our races and our beloved homeland. Hence, to bless all our gathering, to bless all of our efforts, inspire in our minds and thoughts with wise ideas, with clear minds and wise decisions. Ya Allah, the most gracious one, bless us with useful knowledge and literal understanding. Unite our hearts, strengthen the bonds among ourselves, empower our energy and efforts to enhance our beloved motherland's education, together to achieve excellence and glory for the sake of beloved motherland. Allahumma ya alim wa ya khabir. Ya Allah, the most merciful one, please let us be among those who are in your good grace. Prevent us from disobeying your orders, award us with long-lasting health, perfect well-being, with a sane mind, with an active thought, righteous fortune, a faithful descendant and a generation with long-lasting kindness here and hereafter. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala washabihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin.
Amin, Amin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Saudara Ahmad Zarif, for the beautiful dua recitations. Alright, before we begin, I would like to invite Dr. Suhaida binti Muhammad Amin, Faculty Coordinator of Business and Management, to give an opening speech. Please welcome to Dr. Suhaida.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Again, thank you to the Master of Ceremony, Ms. Zulaika. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening everyone. Our Honorable Speaker, Associate Professor T.S. Dr. DEVARAJAN RAMASAMY, Faculty of Mechanical Engineering from UMP, Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF bin Abdul Malik, Administrative and Diplomatic Officer from MITI. Thank you both of you for our respected speaker for Malaysia Automotive Policy Towards Sustainability webinar. Next, our project advisor, Dr. Nurmalisa binti Muhammad Faizal V, Cik Wan Nurul Syarah binti Wan Muhammad Razdi, project leader for Malaysian Automotive Policy Towards Sustainability webinar, fellows lecturers, committee and students. Alhamdulillah, we are grateful for the Almighty Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala generosity in allowing us to join this webinar on Malaysian automotive policy towards sustainability. Before I begin, on behalf of the faculty, I would like to thank you to our speakers who are willing to attend and share knowledge at tonight's program. Also, I would like to congratulate all committees and the project's advisor for realizing this program. I believe this virtual webinar is bound to be successful along with the fascinating topics chosen for today's webinar. Audience and students, first and foremost, purpose of this webinar is to educate all participants on the national automotive policy as it progresses and its effects on Malaysia's current automotive sector. And furthermore, this webinar will not only broaden students' knowledge of Malaysia's current economic situations and current policy changes, but it's also an excellent starting point for the students to learn how changes in the policy affect the existing system. My honorable audience, hopefully all attendees will take advantages of this opportunity to learn and find this webinar enlightening and informative. And once again, I would like to thank both of our respected speakers as well and everyone who took the time to participate in this webinar. And now, without further ado, I'm honored to officiate today's webinar on Malaysia's automotive policy towards sustainability. That's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Dr. Suhaida for the opening speech just now. I would like to take a second and ask for your cooperation to turn on your camera for a photography session with Dr. Suhaida. Technical team?
Okay, everyone's ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you.
Thank you everyone, and again, thank you so much to Dr. Suhaida. Before proceeding to the next slot, let me first introduce our first speaker for today's webinar. Our first speaker is Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF bin Abdul Malik. Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF is an administrative and diplomatic officer in the Ministry of International Trade and International Trade and Industry, MITI, with over 3 years of experience in this sector. His job responsibilities include assisting in planning, formulating, reviewing, monitoring, and evaluating of policy on the automotive industry, Industry 4.0, and machinery and equipment industry to support continuous development and strengthen the competitiveness of local industry in manufacturing sector. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our first speaker, Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF, to share his knowledge on the NAP NXGV Next Generation Vehicle. Please welcome.
All right. Everyone can hear me? All right. Okay, good.
Yes.
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to Dr. Suhaida and all students from UiTM Malacca. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank you for inviting me. Also tonight, joined by my colleague, my other colleague, Mr. Wan Ahmad Iskandar, and also Mr. Fidaus Uzir. So both all of three of us is under automotive unit under Industry Development Division MITI. So can we proceed to my slide? All right. Next, please. Okay, so basically this is my outline of my presentation for this evening. So, okay, next slide, please. So to start off this presentation, so this is just a general background of our Malaysian automotive industry. So automotive industry is contributing our national GDP almost 4 to 5% of the total GDP share of the national GDP. And then from 2014 up to 2021, the value of the approved investment in automotive industry is amounting of 21.16 billion and employ more than 600 workers. So currently we have over 27 OEMs or assemblers and over 640 vendors and also over 60,000 aftermarket. And for the sales and production, so basically it's between 500,000 to 600,000 unit yearly. And for as for EEV penetration, it's amounting to 82.2% of the total TIV in 2021, which consists of 92 models and 334 variants. So for the exporting part and components, it's amounting about 87 billion from 2014 to 2021. Next slide, please. Okay, for the background for the automotive policy, NEP. So NEP is the main guiding policy document for the development of Malaysia automotive industry. It was introduced in 2006 and has been reviewed 3 times. The latest review is NEP 2020 that was launched on 21st February 2020. So the focus of the NEP 2006 is to integrate the supply chain by promoting the use of the local content. As for NEP 2009, the automotive sector has been open to enable foreign investment for vehicle of 1,800 cc and above. Subsequently, for the NEP 2014, we targeted the development of the green and sustainable technology in the automotive sector through the introduction of the EEV, energy efficient vehicle. So the latest document, which is the NEP 2020, will enhance the Malaysian automotive industry through the transformation of this sector into connected mobility. Okay, this is in line with the global digital transformation experienced by all sectors of the industry. Okay, next slide. Okay, as you can see here, the framework of NEP 2020, it's addition to the 3 new elements, which is the NXGV, Next Generation Vehicle, and then Mobility as a Service, MAAS, and Industrial Revolution 4.0. So for the NXGV is a energy efficient vehicle embedded with the intelligent mobility technology with capability to go autonomous by phases. So in this NEP 2020, we targeted to achieve the level 3 of by the year of 2025. And for the second element, which is the mobility as a service, MAS, is the evolution from personal transportation to mobility solution that are consumed as a service. Nowadays, we can see a lot of mobility service provider such as Grab and then Soka. So this is considered as a MAS. Okay, this entails a development of sharing concept in transportation and logistics, multimodal transportation, connected living, telematic, and e-payments. Okay, for the last element, which is the IR 4.0, is the enabler to the NXGV and also the MAS, connected mobility in manufacturing, after sale, and also services. Okay, next please. All right. So in the context of EV, the electric vehicle, NIP 2020 continues to promote EV production, including EV, but with smart digital and connectivity features. The combination of green and smart tech resulting in the next generation vehicle, a vehicle that is energy efficient regardless of powertrain, including EV, but with autonomous level 3. So the promotion and adoption of the green technology for energy efficient vehicle, particularly EV, will be supported by the right ecosystem and infrastructure for it to be sustainable and attractive. Okay, next. Okay. The environment, social and governance, ESG agenda in particular will have a major impact with respect to the automotive industry. One of the largest source of carbon emission, as you can see from the pie chart there, is the transportation or mobility industry. EV has been identified as one of the technological solutions to reduce carbon emission. This has been emphasized in various government policy documents, including National Automotive Policy, National Transportation Policy, and the latest one is the Low Carbon Mobility Footprint, which is come up by CASA, the Ministry of Energy and Water. All right, next slide, please. Okay, in tandem with our National Investment Aspiration, NIA, and with the global recognition and emphasis on green growth, the Malaysian government has committed to drive sustainability and inclusivity as outlined in the 12th Mission Plan, with the commitment to achieve net zero carbon at the earliest by 2050. Okay, next. So as you can see here, for the global EV statistic, China has been the leader for the full battery EV. As from the statistic, you can see almost half of the market share global has been produced by China. All right. Okay, next. Okay. All around the world, globally, we can see there is a lot of policies regarding the EV. So we have because the EV is much more popular in the Europe and China and also US. So there you can see most of this country has been come up with attractive policy to attract more investment in this industry, especially EV. Okay, next. Okay, so for the ASEAN EV statistic, in 2020, total of 1,583 units were sold in ASEAN market. Okay, Thailand emerged as an ASEAN market leader in BEV, 81.4 in 2020. And then as you can see, Malaysia also is doing quite well, but it's rather very small, because in ASEAN market, BEV is still considered very much low. 1% of the total car sale in ASEAN. Okay, this is likely due to several factors, including the maturity of the technology, which is not yet optimal, lack of supporting infrastructure, high cost of technology, and low market acceptance. As such, the ground are open for Malaysia to be the lead industry region in EV segment. Okay, next. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, ASEAN countries also come up with a very interesting and attractive policy in EV. So Thailand, Singapore, they already announced to phase out all the internal combustion engine at latest by 2040. So as of now, Malaysia has not come up with any date to phase out all the ICE vehicle, but I think we are going towards that. All right. Okay, next. Okay, here is, you can see the breakdown of our national EV, PHEV, and hybrid sale. So for the full battery EV, for passenger car is 408 unit, and motorcycle is more than 1,000 unit. And as for PHEV, plug-in hybrid, this is from 2015 to 2021. Yeah. So the cumulative for PHEV passenger car is more than 20,000 unit, and as for hybrid EV, it amounting more than 40,000. So overall, the cumulative unit from 2015 to 2021 is around 67,000 unit. All right, next. Okay, for this slide, okay, to promote investment on EV, company investing in assembly and or manufacturing of EV vehicle, including hybrids and electric or component, for such vehicle are eligible to the following incentive: finance status incentive and investment tax allowance up to 100% for the period of 5 or 10 years. The government also provide tax exemption for companies providing green services, including installation of EV charging infrastructure. As for indirect tax incentive, exemption of import duty and excise duty of EEV vehicles, including electric and hybrid vehicles, is eligible to be considered according to strategic level of investment, including investment value, total production, technology transfer, local value-added activities, and export program. Nevertheless, despite of this incentive provided by the government, the take-up rate and investment in EV are still low, and there is need to stimulate demand side. Okay, next. Okay, so for stimulating demands for EV in the country, with the aim to encourage future investment, the government has announced a comprehensive incentive package under Budget 2022, which offer incentive not only to vehicles and component manufacturers, but also covers consumer, the demand side. The incentive package including full exemption of import duty, excise duty, and sales tax on locally assembled EVs for the period of 4 years until 2025. Full exemption of import duty, excise duty on CBU unit for period of 2 years until 2023, and then full road tax exemption until 2025, and last but not least, individual income tax relief up to 2,500 for installing, rental, purchase equipment for EV charging facilities. All right. Okay, next. Okay, in terms of ecosystem development, the NAPO 2020 also outlines specific measures for EV, including promote EV manufacturing through issuance of ML, manufacturing license, develop skilled manpower through various human capital programs, standard setting of EV related technologies, and establish EV Interoperability Center, EV, to promote R&D and testing for EV related activities. Okay, next. Okay, as for the deliverables, EV targets are derived from the study from Low Carbon Mobility Blueprint, a document by Ministry of Environment and Water. For the numbers of EV, we targeting 15% of the total industry volume by 2030. The XEV means it's not just focusing on battery, it also can be hybrid, it also can be plug-in EV, and also fuel cell EV, right? Okay, on the charger, the target is to have 10,000 charging facilities nationwide, of which 1,000 unit will be the DC charger, which is the fast charger. All right, next. Okay, so in this slide, you can see the whole ecosystem of the EV in Malaysia. So we have the policy initiative, also supported by the infrastructure, also by the demand of the vehicles, supported by the component makers, and also we're also not forgetting on the education, research and technology, and then on the regulatory agencies. So the EV ecosystem in Malaysia, yes, is still at infancy stage, but we foresee a huge potential, especially in the area of mass and development of critical component. So we are encouraging the OEMs to locally produce all the critical component for the EV, so that we can spur all the talents, and then it also will affect the price of the EV. Okay, next. Okay, this is the slide just showing that the EV related development in Malaysia. So if you can see here, we have Tesla model also will be coming in Malaysia, already coming in Malaysia. And then Porsche, and also they have a collaboration with Shell to build up a charging infrastructure along the highway, I think. Okay, and then okay, next. Okay, so for this slide, okay, just want to emphasize on the EV task force led by MITI that was established in November 2020, which is to refine the existing strategy on EVs to be improved or replaced, and to identify new strategy to ensure more comprehensive and investor-friendly direction. So this task force will serve as a platform in discuss and coordinating government initiative together with relevant stakeholders in EV development, covering the whole ecosystem, namely policy direction, infrastructure, standards, technical specification, regulation, incentive, and also market access. So this is my final slide. And to sum up my presentation, Malaysian government is optimistic that the NEP 2020 measures that have been developed, and also the EV incentive package in the budget 2022 will serve as a catalyst for the development of the local EV industry ecosystem. So to ensure the country automotive industry remains relevant and capable of competing and supporting the global supply chain. So I think that's all for my presentation today. Okay, give it back to Mr. Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Muhammad Nazif for a very informative sharing regarding the NAP 2020 and NXGV Next Generation Vehicles. Next, we will continue with the Q&A session with Encik Muhammad Nazif. Audin may ask question in the chat box below, or you may simply unmute your microphone to ask any questions. Question will be addressed by Mr. Nazif shortly after. For your acknowledgement, I would like to welcome again Encik Wan Ahmad Iskandar bin Wan Adnan and Mr. Firdaus Muzir, two of the representatives from MITI who has come to join us for our tonight's webinar. Thank you. Audience can start to ask questions in the chat box below, or you can just unmute your microphone to ask any question to Mr. Muhammad Nazif.
Assalamualaikum, Encik Nazif.
Ya, waalaikumsalam.
I have a question. For Malaysian cars like Pro 2 and Proton, is there any initiative from them to develop or make cars like the EEV cars?
Alright.
So far, there is no car like Proton X70 also don't have the battery cars yet, battery powered cars yet, right?
Okay. Alright.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Miss Akila. So to answer your question, yes, currently Proton and Pro 2 they don't have any specific model of EV, but in our discussion with these two car manufacturers, they have planned come up with an EV model. So they have are in this stage. So hopefully we can see a new EV model from both our local car manufacturers, Proton and Pro 2.
Assalamualaikum, Encik Nazrif.
Yes, Cik
Okay,
Muhammad.
I'm Fahmi from EMBA program. Okay, just want to ask about this, our new national automotive policy, which has been since was formulated with a more global view to guide our country become a regional leader by continuous the previous NAP 2014. Where the focus was to be Malaysia as a regional automotive hub in electric cars. So the question is, how does it seem that the implementation changes was so rapidly in just 6 years from the previous NAP? Because from this can be create a new insurance to gain the automakers player confidence to further invest in our country in terms of networks, assemble manufacturing and so others. So is that possible that because of that our policies since are not interactive for them this auto player, and they will shift their interest to others ASEAN country like Thailand, where like Thailand and Indonesia, like we can see how Tesla get involved there, where this country have provided them with a solid and persistent policy. So how does Malaysia need to ensure our new policy will avoid this event from happen?
Okay. I think I will try to answer first. Okay. So for our policy, I think it's a very comprehensive policy which cover EEV, which EEV also covers EV. All right. So in our policy, I think if you want to compare for Tesla to open up their business in Indonesia, because of our lack of policy is not strong enough, it's not attractive enough, I think you are misled on information, right? So because one thing for sure, Tesla, their interest in Indonesia is because of the raw material to make the battery there. So But in Malaysia also, we have the capability to build up the EV battery. The ecosystem here is much more, I think, much more convenient for our investors. Okay, I will touch just a little bit on that. So, Cik Wan Iskandar, do you have anything you want to add on?
Thank you, Encik Nazif. I think in terms of continuity of the policy, there was a question just now regarding the continuity of the policy, which is too close that could disrupt the plans of our OEMs. I think this is like Encik Nazif said, like, it's not really true because when we introduced 2014, I think the direction was according to global trend. And sometime around that time, later we see there's a talk about Industry 4.0. So there's a lot of talks about embedding these vehicles with green powertrain, such as EV or hybrid, and having connectivity features of technology. So when we did the NAP 2020 and NAP 2014, we had consultation with the stakeholders. And I think when we had the 2020, of course, the plan is until 2030. So this policy is actually to set the direction and to prepare our automotive industry towards vehicles that are smart as well as green. And with such policy, of course, we hope that our national car makers will also take on board, as well as investors. We have also seen success stories like Porsche coming into Malaysia recently. So I think we also have seen some companies showing interest to actually develop EV batteries, but I couldn't name because it's not firm yet. So there is opportunity for us to take the lead, as mentioned in Nazif's presentation, because the EV segment in the ASEAN is still very, very small and nobody is taking the lead. And I think it's up to us to actually set the direction, and we hope that the industry and everyone will be on board on this. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Encik Wan.
Encik Muhammad Nazif. So there's one question in the chat box. So this question is from Azira. She asked, do you think for Malaysian who is B40 can afford these cars? I think she means the electric vehicles, that we know electric vehicles were still too expensive to purchase, and then the second most cited factor deterring consumer from purchasing electric vehicles was the lack of knowledge on the maintenance cost. So it is affordable for them to buy this one. So what is your point of view on that?
Okay, all right. So thank you, Miss Azira. Okay, yes, the technology of EV right now is very expensive because, and then I give you an example, like handphone. Okay, 10 years back, the cost of the handphone is very expensive. But nowadays, because of the advancement of the technologies and then the competition, so the price will reduce significantly. So it's also implied for the EVs, because EVs is a very new technologies, so it's quite expensive. But I think in the long run, the price will reduce because we have because of the advancement of the technologies and the maturity of the I think the components. So it will be affordable for most of our people. And as there is also a study comparison between ICE vehicle and EV vehicle. So in terms of maintenance, EV is much more lower compared to the ICE vehicle, because the powertrain is very simple compared to the ICE, so it also affect the maintenance cost. So I think you can check on that study. All right, I hope that answer you, Puan Azira.
Encik Muhammad Nazif, I also have questions. From your point of view, based on Malaysian current demand on electric vehicles, do you think Malaysians are willing to accept electric vehicle in the futures, or the scope are still remain small only for upper income community?
Cik Nazim, Cik Nazim, minta maaf saya mencelah dulu. Minta maaf Zulaikha, saya mencelah sekejap. Cik Nazim, terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much. My name is Nur Melissa. I'm the advisor for this program. Again, I'm sorry tadi masuk lambat sikit. I really appreciate it's an honor to have you in the event. And you know, as you were presenting, it was a very interesting, rather interesting. Nampak macam banyak technical tadi, muka saya berkerut tadi. Nak faham kan all the terms, you know. The only related terms that as per related to education was IR 4.0. The rest was very technically, you know, explained. Okay, just a simple question from me. Sorry Zulaikha, saya tanya dulu nanti takut terlambat saya nak tanya ni. Just a simple question, Cik Nazif. Part of having EV atau, you know, I mean, I'm talking about a perspective of a consumer is knowing that there are charging stations. At least as per that kan, kalau tak ada charging station ni macam risau, sempat sampai ke? Daripada Johor nak ke Kedah tu sampai ke? Macam gitu. So what are the strategies, the government strategies looking into the infrastructure, providing assurance to the consumer that, you know, you'll get to the point. You know, there are stations for you to charge. If in case you were somewhere in a suburb ke ataupun, you know, somewhere yang lebih kawasan pedalaman dan sebagainya. That just a simple question. Thank you, Cik Nazir. Thank you very much.
Alright, thank you, Doctor. So to answer that, okay, yes, we already take into the consideration of the lack of charging station. So I think betul macam Dr. maklumkan, people have that kind of anxiety whether sama ada kita along the way to charging station tak ada, how you want to charge, right? So rest assured the government take that into consideration, and then we also already plan under the EV task force, which was led by MITI and also joined by other stakeholders like CASA, MOF, MDTC, even from the vehicle association, from public sectors also come into that task force, giving their opinion, their concern. So we have a discussion very lengthy on this charging station. So, but looking back at this EV cars nowadays, you can see some EV cars can go up to 400 kilometers, right? So I think the anxiety from the consumer whether there is whether they can charge or not along the way, I think selalunya macam 400 kilometers is more than enough. I think untuk kita charge full charge at home, and then kita sampai dekat destination we can sambung charge lah. Cumanya memang betul. As long as there is no accessibility like our petrol car right now, kita akan tengok banyak petrol station, so mana-mana kita akan nampak, so the anxiety will reduce. So yes, the government take note on that. So hopefully you can see there is a lot more of development of this infrastructure in the future. So that's all, Doctor.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Nazif. So I open the floor to the students. Zulaikha, kita open dulu for the students MPA dulu.
Hello.
Okay. Good evening.
Hafiz has a question there.
Hafiz, okay. Hafiz first.
Okay. Sorry. My name is Hafiz. I'm final SEM 4 finance. So, Tuan, as electric car become more popular, some question if they as a environmentally friendly, as a advertised, with some saying that greenhouse emission during the manufacturing process and battery charging have be considered. The number of the electric cars, buses, van or the heavy trucks on road is expected to hit about 155 million by 2030. The International Energy Agency predicts. In your opinions, is the government automatic now in line with the use of the electricity cars, or does our policy only allow the use of this vehicle minimally because it harms the world's oil producers and import the, and what the impact on the country economy especially?
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hafiz, for that question. So, because I think most of our country is towards the neutral carbon to become a neutral carbon nation by 2050. So one of it is one of the solution is to have EVs as primary transportation, because as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, beside the energy sector, transportation is the second largest contributor for the carbon emission in the world, right? So yes, I think we can see a lot more of consumer using EV in the future. So yes, our policy is supportive to that direction. Cik Iskandar, do you have any point you want to add?
Okay, I think one of the question when it was raised, is, you mentioned about how although EV is actually maybe zero emission at the tailpipe, but emission also need to be counted at the charging, or we have this concept we call from well to wheel calculation. So I think of course we have to start somewhere, but I think globally if you want to remain competitive, it is recognized that EV is a global, is a primary solution to address carbon emission in transportation. So in line with this, I think of course we have to start somewhere. Maybe we probably we have to start with the vehicle, and probably later we need to look into the energy mix. This is something that the government we have to look into, increasing our renewable energy in our energy production. Maybe right now we are mainly still on fossil fuel, but discussion is being ongoing, so that later when we are able to accumulate more lesser emission, then this will actually help us to achieve the target of achieving this status of carbon neutral country by 2050 as outlined in our Malaysia plan, 12 Malaysian plan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Encik Nazif, I have a question here.
Yes.
I'm Rashika from Embam Melaka. In your opinion, do you think Malaysia is ready in terms of law and regulations for EV cars? Since, as I'm aware, we are not yet regulate any laws on EV. For example, in the case of Singaporean driving to Penang is getting sued by our PDRM. So, is there any laws that has regulate on the implementation of EV in Malaysia? Thank you.
Alright. What do you mean by regulation of the EV? Is it the regulation of manufacturing the EVs, or
in terms of the use of EV in our country?
I think there's
since the Singaporean who is driving a Tesla,
okay,
is getting sued by our PDRM since they said that it is not allowed in our country. It's in the news last April.
Encik Nazif, I will step in.
Okay, alright.
Hi, Cik Is.
Okay, Puan Rashika, I think what you mentioned just now, of course, Tesla is an EV, but it's also equipped with this autonomous level.
Autonomous autopilot driving.
Yeah, certain level of autonomous vehicle condition lah. So I think what you said is if I understand it correctly, is true. But this is actually under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Transport. I can't confirm this, but I was told that this is something that needs to be looked at, and this is something that we actually highlighted in the NAP 2020, that for us to actually prepare our industry, prepare the adoption of all these new technologies that probably will disrupt our current regulation. This is something that the government need to look at and review for us to actually have a better adoption of this technology into our country. I think that is a pertinent point that you have raised.
True, Cik Is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, thank you, Cik Iskandar. Okay, so there is question from Nur Fahana binti Zainal. So the question is, fuel analysis efficiency for passenger vehicle are almost 3 times more energy efficient than petrol-based ICE vehicle and almost 2 times more efficient than hybrid vehicle. Okay, can you explain a bit more why it's more efficient than hybrid vehicle? Okay, so basically BEV, battery electric vehicle, from my presentation, it's 3 times more energy efficient compared to ICE because they're solely using battery, right? And then as for the hybrid is still using petrol, but it also has a small part of battery. So if you compare for in terms of energy efficient, so BEV is more efficient twice compared to hybrid. So okay, hope that answer you, Fahana.
So audience, please do ask any question to Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF because we still have another 10-minute left for Q&A sessions.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum Encik Nazir dan Encik Iskandar. I'm Ahmad Iskandar from program IBM 246. I want to ask, just recently Porsche already opened up a plant, first plant out of Europe in Malaysia, and they start to produce Cayenne models, and it's a big step lah for Malaysia to open up a plant from Porsche, and the first plant out of Europe, and then there's anytime soon Porsche akan produce model yang full EV, which is Taycan ke dekat Malaysia. Sebab Taycan is a full EV punya car, and the next line of their models to be built up, CKD in Malaysia is Taycan or still open for normal car?
Okay, I think this one Cik Iskandar lah boleh jawab. Cik Iskandar juga.
Thank you, Nazif. I think normally the government, we don't discuss or divulge plans of companies such as Porsche, whether what models they're bringing in. But in general, I can say that after the government announced very lucrative incentive under the budget 2022, there are interests even from OEMs to bring in electric models for assembly in Malaysia, which we are very happy, because it sends that means that our policy of introducing those incentives in budget 2022 is considered quite well accepted. So there are plans, I heard, to even consider having this electric models, but I would not, I would refrain myself from mentioning Taycan or Tycoon, whatever you mentioned just now. But it's a very nice car, that Taycan. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry. I have a question. This is actually a question from a colleague, Cik Nazif dan Cik Wan Ahmad. My colleague asked this question as he was listening, but dia tak boleh nak cakap lah. Dia ada problem nak type tadi. Okay, he asked me a question. Dia kata macam gini. Dia kata looking into the presentation and the slides just now, you know, you did mention about all these NEP policies and whatnot. Looking into EV kan, kita nak go for sustainability. But he does not see, tadi tak nampak lah anything as per related to Proton and also Pro 2. So what are the initiatives that is done by government to ensure, atau ada tak sebarang involvement by this national cars, as per national car pun 51% macam tu. Is there any involvement by them to, you know, produce EV cars? Because as at now we are like, it'll be a disadvantage for automotive industry Malaysia if we do not embark into the area kan. Even now we look into Subaru dengan, tak salah saya lah, Subaru dengan Toyota pun tengah joint venture nak buat EV cars or whatever kan. So is there anything that the automotive Malaysians own car producer ataupun automotive producer plan sekarang ni? Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. So, to answer that, okay, basically, the government is not directly involved lah in the matter of business strategy for our local car manufacturer like Proton, Pro 2. But in our NEP policy, so we encourage our local car manufacturers like Proton, Pro 2 to conduct activities in line with the global, like currently on the EV, right? So we also encourage both all the OEMs, including Proton and Pro 2, to take up all the initiative provided by the government as announced in the last budget 2022. So take the advantage lah. So like Cik Wan Iskandar mentioned just now, we cannot discuss on their plan here. So, but I think we receive a positive response from all the OEMs in Malaysia, including Proton and Pro 2. Cik Iskandar?
Okay, thank you, Nazif. I think for our car automotive national car players, I think like Encik Nazif mentioned, positive response, especially when they want to support our government, as they would like to support our government policy, as well as looking to developing our local talents, as well as local vendors in this country to be in the EV ecosystem. But of course, we are not able to tell you firmly, because I think this is best being informed by the company itself. However, we can see the challenges for them is that, of course, because right now, for example, Proton or Pro 2, they are producing vehicles for the rakyat, and the challenges for vehicle like EV is a vehicle that is very expensive in terms of technology. So these are the challenges that they need to overcome. Because of course there's also one sense of introducing technology, but also they also need to look in the context of business and profitability of this. So I think I'm sure that a lot of us are actually very excited to see our national car makers having these EV or hybrid vehicles to be introduced. But I'm sure that this will come sooner than later. But we have to be patient, because I think there's a lot of consideration need to be done. Also, they also need to look into, if they are developing these cars, they need to look into the climate and the tropical climate of this country for this vehicle to be actually well introduced. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That will be the last question for the first Q&A session. Again, I want to thank you to Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF and Mr. Wan Iskandar for the informative answers to all the questions addressed earlier. With the end of our first slot of the Q&A session, it is marked the end of our first slot of the webinar. Hopefully, the speaker insight and knowledge sharing will be taken and implemented as effectively as possible. Now, we will proceed with photography session with Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF. I would like to ask for your cooperation to turn on your camera for this session. Technical team.
Okay, everyone's ready? We will take a formal picture first. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Again, we proceed with a freestyle. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone. And again, I would like to thank you to Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF, Mr. Wan Iskandar, and also Mr. Wan Adnan for attending our webinar tonight. Before, I would like to, on behalf of for all the committees, we would like to thank for our speaker, Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF, and thank you for the knowledge sharing on the NAP Next Generation Vehicles.
Alright, thank you so much everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad NADZEEF.
Terima kasih banyak, Cik Nazif. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Before we continue with the next agenda of tonight, please enjoy our short montage prepared by our technical team. Now, as we move on to our second session, I would like to introduce our second speaker of the night. Associate Professor Technology Professional Dr. DEVARAJAN Anak Lelaki Ramasamy is a researcher, consultant and a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, FKM at University Malaysia Pahang, having over 15 years of experience in educational field. He graduated from University Science Malaysia with a PhD in 2050 and University Technology Malaysia with Master of Engineering in 2006. Prof. Dr. Devarajan is a member of several professional bodies and scientific society, and amongst it including the Board of Engineer Malaysia, the Institution of Mechanical Engineering IMED in United Kingdom, and the Centre of Excellence for Advanced Research in Fluid Flow Carrier. And now, please welcome our second speaker of the night, Professor Dr. Devarajan, to continue with the talk of the breakthrough of the National Automotive Policy 2020.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prof.
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you for Zulaika, our MC here. And thank you to the person I know so far, Associate Professor Ahmad Fadli, on behalf of University UiTM Malacca branch, right?
Yes, correct, Prof.
And thank you for inviting me for this just a knowledge sharing that I'm giving you all on the NAP 2020 and also EEVs as a whole, right? Okay, so shall we start the session?
Yes,
Yeah,
Prof.
sure. Prof Deva.
Yeah.
My name is Melissa. I'm the project advisor. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it very, very much. So Dr. Deva kenal Dr. Fad Dr. Fadli?
No. I just got the letter, appointment letter.
Yeah. He invited he invited you in the he could not came today. Somebody else came and dah keluar dah tadi because there's another program and all. Thank you very much, Dr. Deva. You can proceed and take the floor. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So because I'm not from business background, so I'll try to go because we are more to technical side. So our main is about research and design. Okay, so I'll try to look at it into that perspective. So NAP 2020, the breakthrough. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, so electric vehicles, okay, and the challenges of electric vehicles is that it should have been quite cheap in the 2016 to 18, but however the price is still very high. So this is a concern because normal people like even M20 people, they also couldn't buy these electric vehicles because the price is above 200,000 and this range. So why it happens is because you have a lot of supply and demand problem actually. The main supply demand comes from the battery itself. So lithium batteries, which is called the lithium carbonate, the price actually started with $100,000 per ton, and now it is at around 470,000 per ton plus. So the price of lithium is ever shooting, and it is again a setback to the electrification idea for the cars. So undeniably that plug-in hybrids are becoming very expensive to produce than the petrol-driven cars. But nowadays we are having another hurdle, which is the price of coal. So if you know arang batu, so this item is right now has been increasing more than from around $100 per ton. Now it has gone to $400 per ton also. So this is a hurdle for electricity generators like Tenaga Nasional, okay, and it is ever challenging for these electric vehicles. Hopefully things turn around and we see what happens next. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Okay, so the energy efficient vehicle, which is the NAP, how to say, is the child of the NAP, right? So they wanted to make this to reduce our carbon footprint so that we are relevant to the ESG initiative by the World Order, which is the environment, sustainable and green approach. Okay, so they have to reduce the fossil fuels usage and opportunities for Malaysians to run electric vehicles. So there is a way that how to say, old generation of people, they like to use petrol cars. They want the new generation of people trying to go into electric cars. But the hurdle is still, right now, 2022, we are facing it due to the high inflative prices of the items that is going on. Okay, so in Malaysia, we have a high import tax. Okay, and the EV initiatives actually brought down the price of cars. So certain cars, the price has gone down. How to say, in a affordable limit, meaning for cars such as like Perodua, such as for Protons. Okay, they have gone into EVs and they have reduced the carbon footprint for the cars, and they are making the young people owning these cars, then it can run leaner and has modern and high-tech technologies, such as in the hybrid cars. So EV cars are not necessarily electric vehicles. They also can be normal ICE cars, which is using high technology and leaner burning engines. Okay. Can we go next slide? Okay, so another thing is we have a Malaysian initiative which is called the Green Tech Malaysia. So this government body actually tries to push the hybrid and electric car movement to be faster in Malaysia. There is still a hurdle, and somewhere along the way there is a problem. And why it happens, and this is where a question mark comes in. Why there is no bridge between electricity producer, highway, and also petrol stations, right? They have to combine together in a way so that the transition to electric cars are easy, all right? But this is an initiative by the Green Tech Malaysia. They are still improving and to try to reduce the carbon footprint of the normal cars. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, in reality, what happened is that car manufacturers are globally spending millions of dollars to make the plug-in hybrids and the electric vehicles. However, the low emissions and luxury, it must sit together. For now, what they do is that they're trying to target the high income people so that they can afford these cars first, and they somehow use the car to absorb the initial cost. Okay, so if you look at BMW and Mercedes, Volvo and Porsche, they are working hard to encompass their luxury cars to be electric first. So you have to buy these cars to be starting the revolution of the electric vehicle, which is a bit of setback, okay, in reality terms lah. Okay, and even if you look at the Mercedes also, the lowest range starts with the BMW 330 and the Mercedes 350e. So these two electric vehicles are around 400 to 500,000 ringgit. So yeah, it is still even beyond my pay scale, because we also cannot buy it. Okay, but this is another hurdle. Okay, but there are also affordable electric cars like the VW Golf, Nissan Leaf is in Malaysia, and Hyundai Ioniq. Okay, it's not here. Okay, Hyundai Ioniq is also one of the good cars in Malaysia that is affordable and in the mid-range electric vehicles. Okay, next. Okay, so there is one big issue. Okay, these electric vehicles. Okay, their main anxiety is that the batteries doesn't move very far. So you need to charge the battery, and then, like I said, there is no communication between the infrastructure of the electric vehicle itself, meaning there is no power grid that is able to be stationed in every part of the country. So we have only certain places which have a lot of power grids. I think Malacca has a lot of power grid and charging stations. However, when you come to like ourselves, East Coast, susah, very hard to find charging stations. Maybe one is there, I think. And in UMP also, we have, I think, 2 or 3 charging points. Okay, but we don't have much electric cars. Okay, so the cost of charging infrastructure is also being debated by the Green Tech Malaysia, ABB, Bosch, and car manufacturers. and only rich Malaysians enjoy the EV status as they can buy the high high range vehicles of BMW and Mercedes, okay, so that they can how to say enjoy the benefits of the free, or not say free, subsidized electric that is given by the TNB now. But it is going on. So other middle class Malaysians are also trying to go to EEV rebates. So this is where our EEV comes in. As Hyundai Ioniq, the first generation, Mazda CX-5, Perodua IV, Honda City, and Jazz. Okay, these are the cars that are right now in the EEV range, meaning you can go very high mileage for a low fuel consumption. Okay, we will see this in the next slide. Okay, so it's not the fault of the government. So this is just a brainstorm for me. It is not the fault of the government or the issue with the car manufacturers. It is more like a chicken and egg story. So which one has to come first, the electric car or the grid manufacturer? So where does it come? Where does it sit? Or the battery or the technology? Okay, so these are still the teething problems for the electric car movements. And who will pay for the charging infrastructure? So this is the biggest question. So we need funders. Okay, Malaysia needs funders, and they need private arms that are able to invest so that the EEV can be adopted. Okay, and also will it be the EV car manufacturers that need to invest in the charging infrastructure and so and sell their EVs, or is it the government willing to forego all the billions in import duties and imported electric cars for cleaner breathing air? Okay, these are the questions that need to be answered. All right, so next. Okay, EEV itself. So this is a standard in Malaysia, is under MS 2722 in 2021. So this standard was requirement to make electric energy efficient vehicle. And Malaysia announced the National Automotive Policy in 2020, and the aim of making a local automotive industry over the next 10 years. Okay, so the EEV actually goes to actually not only to help the automotive sector, it is also helping to strengthen the industry and combating protectionism in the global automotive industry, and making the automotive industry a major contributor to the Malaysian economy. So these are the highlights of the EEV. Yeah? So EEV also is being used not only for cars, they are also used for air conditions, okay, a fridge, okay, and televisions. Okay, they are also given EEV tag. Okay, so it's almost similar to the EEV for the car. Why is this? It's because of the reduction of carbon emission from the vehicle, and they increase the awareness of exhaust emission and fuel consumptions. Because as you know, normal ICE engine cars, however much you do also, the emission of the car will be around 30% of the fuel that you use. Okay, so there is still high amount of carbon dioxide, high amount of nitrous oxide, high amount of carbon monoxide. So these are the emissions that are still coming out from the vehicle, which is hazardous and harmful for the human itself and also the environment. So when you go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the overview of the EEV. So there are categories of the EEV. So the definition of EEV comes from the CO2 emission and the fuel consumption itself. So they are also based on even the fuel efficient ICEs like hybrid, electric, EV, and CNG, and LPG, and biodiesel, ethanol, and hydrogen fuel are considered as a EEV initiative. So next slide. Yeah, this one. Okay, so when you look at this, so this is where the standard is being implemented. So how do you categorize the car as a EEV? Is based on the weight and the fuel consumption. So if the car is weight less than 800 kilos, so the fuel consumption is supposed to be around 4.5 liter per 100 kilometers. So if it falls in this range, so this car is a EEV standard. So if it goes to the high range cars like the 3,500 kilos maximum, so the maximum high weight car, meaning like Mercedes or if you have a big car, Rolls Royce even, so that car, if it wants to go into EV category, it has to have around 17.2 liter per 100 kilometer. So this is the meaning of this chart. Okay, so go to the next slide. So this is the label that Malaysia Standards is giving for EEV. So the authority is here, and the size and diameter, I think, is there. You can look it up in Malaysia Standards. Okay, next. Okay, so again, come back to the initial study. Why we need the NAP 2020 and how do you implement it? So comes to the Malaysian Carbon Cities Conference in 2021. So we want to show that the world that Malaysia also can reduce the carbon footprint of our country by giving the how to say the initiatives from the ministries. Okay, so National Low Carbon Cities Master Plan was launched. Okay, and in this there were 24 key action under 3 key driver areas and 3 key enablers. So when you go down the next slide. Okay, and around this there are 9 directions for the low carbon development in Malaysia as the in the master plan as follows. Okay, so we want to streamline and integrate low carbon policies and regulations, strengthen institutional framework and implementation of mechanism at all levels, mainstream low carbon urban planning and development, increase community participation in low carbon development, providing funding and facilitate low carbon development, invest, okay, and so on. So our main vehicle comes into the mainstream low carbon urban planning and development. All right, so here is where the greenhouse gases are being monitored and measured so that we can reduce the impacts from the vehicle to the how to say, to the mobility. So if you look at mobility itself, we want to move from point A to point B. Okay, how do you reduce your carbon footprint? Okay, let's say you are coming from outside Malaysia. You're coming from, let's say you're coming from US. So US, you want to reach to Malacca. Okay, so what you do is you have to take a flight from there. Then you go, in the old days, they take a flight, they come in, and then they go down the flight, and then they go for a cab, and then they go for something, a bus, okay, and so on. So the thing is, you want to go to point A to point B, there's a lot of, how to say, third parties involved. So nowadays, they are coming with the new mobility system. I think all of you know this. You can even book your flight and reach to Malacca in one single plan. Meaning you can plan yourself from US to Malacca in one single plan. That is the mobility that we are talking about. Okay, so if you can know along the way what are the paths you're going to use and what kind of transport you're going to use until you reach the place, you are actually saving the environment a lot of greenhouse gases. Okay, so if you say I want to use the jumbo jet when you're coming in A380, and then you got that's a big plane, so you are reducing your carbon footprint there, and then you come down to the train, and then from the train you go to Grab. Okay, you take a Grab to Malacca. So this is just I'm giving the idea that how to reduce. So EEV fits into this mobility system, so that you can reduce by using the EEV cars like for Grab and Uber. Okay, in this case. Okay, we go to the next slide. Okay, so just this one is just again I'm taking out from the NAP 2020, in which I'm just highlighting the what you call this, the key initiative and the key findings. Like for GDP contribution and new automotive parts. So these are the big targets for the NAP 2020. So GDP contribution is due to the manufacturing sector, and you have a lot of materials that is coming in. Okay, and you can bring in a lot of investment to the country based on the materials and the manufacturing, meaning for machining, your tooling. Okay, these are comes from the manufacturing side. And also you got new automotive parts and components. So a lot of R&D can be developed by having this NAP 2020, and they're having a target of 28.3 billion also for this. Okay, so these are the first target. So we go to the next one. Okay, another one is the employment opportunities. So we are talking about 323,000 jobs. All right, so these are the main how to say findings of this this target. Okay, the next. You have the supplier development, okay, and vendor, okay, supplier and vendor competitive levels. So meaning if you have a component of the car, so you don't need to rely on one single vendor or one single supplier, and they are actually fighting amongst themselves, okay, so that they make you the best component that can last longer. Right, so these are the things that, and the last one is the technology development. This is where establishment of full-fledged vehicle type approval, establishment of centers. Okay, so these centers will help in terms of research and development, and also to disseminate the knowledge that is given by the targets of the NAP. In our case, UMP has our own automotive center also. Okay, so from that center, we're trying to communicate with other centers around. Right now is the academic area, like in UiTM, we have this Imperial College Center. So we're trying to communicate with these two centers and find out what are the latest things that is happening. Okay, so NAP will enable us to do this. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, so this again repetitive. When the NAP was introduced, the TIV was 1 million. Okay, and this goal has been met throughout 2014 to 2018, with exception of 2016. So okay, this one I'm not sure yet. As for the TPV, total production volume, the NAP 2014 target was 1.3 million by 2025. And it has achieved around 900,000 and to over 1 million units. Okay, and it's reaching to the target range for the total production volume. Okay, so meaning there is a lot of consumption of people for the EEV. Next. Okay, and then we have the exports for the CBU are higher and it's gone high in 2018. But 2019 and 20, I think there is some issues. We have not included that because that is during the COVID time. So during lockdown, we haven't seen the data yet for the CBU exports. Next. Okay, so these are the production of the CBU itself. The total CBU units that left the country saw a huge spike in 2018. Okay, it went to 2 billion units, and 2017 it is doubled. Okay, from 1.5 billion, and the area of export is remanufactured automotive parts, components, and NAP 2014 is aiming for 2 billion by 2020. This is our target. However, in 2014 we only reached around 523 million, and yeah, we need to set the target for the production itself, because production is based on how much cars we can make in Malaysia itself. Okay, next. Employment based on the Ministry of Trade's booklet, around 244,941 jobs were created from 2014 to 2018, which is in the 4 years. It is far more than the set target of 177,520 employment. Okay, and this is actually, we are very proud because we managed to get a lot of modal insan for our country based on the NAP. Next. Okay, supply chain development. So these are the development of vendors and the suppliers. So if you talk about car manufacturers, they don't rely on OEMs. Okay, so they don't rely on the principle itself. Meaning, let's say you have Proton itself. Okay, so they have a lot of vendors. There are different companies. Okay, they make individual components for let's say for X70. So they make individual components. So this supply chain development is not a direct for Proton, but it is a direct investment for the country. So we have actually increased the supply chain development by implementing the NAP policy. Next. Vendors. Okay, this is same thing again. Okay, we go to the next slide, I think. Okay, EE penetration and the local content. So how do you increase the local contents of your vehicle? You need to have, how to say, in our cars, we have glass, we have battery, we have tire, and we have plastic parts. So these parts, not necessarily you need to bring in as from the other country, from the principal. Normally, you try to localize it, and then due to this, you will have a lot of local parts and local companies which can come in and give the materials for a particular car. So by comparison, the EV penetration caused the increase in the local parts. So the first year alone, we saw a 14% jump of TIV of 93,975 units. Okay, and around 58.7 billion worth of local contents has been used for the vehicle assembly and most of the plants in Malaysia. Okay, so for investments in the NAP 2014, in effect, 10.5 billion worth of investments have been made, with 3.64 being from the foreign FDIs. Okay, while the 6.4 billion is from the DDIs. Okay, next. Okay, so this is very long. Okay, so the technology development of NAP is actually ever changing and is very fast. Okay, so we have a lot of new kind of technology that is coming in for vehicle type approval testing centers. So there's a lot of new kind of testing centers, because for EEV, which is also EEV, electric vehicles, energy efficient vehicle and electric vehicles, you need a special kind of testing center. So it has to be different from the normal cars. Okay, and you have to use a lot of new high-tech people. Okay, they have to be trained into more technology oriented disciplines. Okay, in which you serve the IR 4.0 human capital development. Okay, so these are different from the old kind of automotive industries. So you need new kind of integration between electronics, mechanicals, and mechatronics, we call it. Okay, so the automotive design centers caters the automotive industry. Okay, so and then you have a lot of new kind of OEMs which are entering the market, and you need special needs in areas of design engineering, simulation, and prototyping. So design engineering, you need to have a lot of CAD knowledge, the new kind of CAD systems, and simulations that require less human integration. So you have simulation kind of technologies, like in UMP, we have a vehicle simulator itself. So you can simulate how the vehicle moves on the road and how does it move into different terrains, okay, without even driving the car itself. And also prototyping, this is the new technology coming in, where you have additive manufacturing, okay, 3D printing, okay, and how to make plastic models very fast, and on the spot you can create the components that you want. You also have a new one, SLM, which is the selective laser manufacturing, where you can make metal parts by using 3D printing. And these are the new technologies that are ever evolving. They are very expensive right now, but if you can use it, you can make a car very fast to be produced. Okay, and it is also used to do for emission pollution reduction for. Okay, in lastly, the National Emission Center, okay, it's an independent entity and recognized as a national laboratory owned by Malaysia, MARI. Okay, so we have initiative by MARI under MITI. So they are also testing and facilitating vehicle emission and pollutions, and they are giving a hand for the NAP 2014. Okay, so okay, that's it actually for our breakthrough, and we know that NAP 2014 has some hits and misses. Okay, but overall there is it has achieved its targets for my concern. Okay, and you can actually find all these informations. Okay, when you go into website of the Ministry of NAP itself, okay, for MITI, the CRIM, okay, if you go through all these websites, you can get all the data, and maybe you can find more data that what I saw here, okay, for the next 2050. Okay, the next target will be for 2050. Okay, is there any more slide, or is it finished? Okay, so these are the achievements that we achieve. Ada lagi ke lepas ni? Okay, there is also this. Okay, before this. Okay, this one. So this one is the achievement again. So the how many vendors were created for the NAP 2014. Okay, so around 405 vendor capable to be OEM suppliers in 2018. So meaning we have created new companies that are equivalent to international companies. So they can be in level with Bosch. They can be in level with Continental. So we have created around 405 capable vendor companies. Okay, next. So these are the production volume that earlier I was talking about. So production volume of the car actually is increased, but it is flattened. So it is increased in the early 2014 to 17, as of 14 to 15. Then it flattened out. Okay, so to become a how to say constant value. Okay, around 500,000. That is the maximum that we can produce the cars. Next. Okay, human capital development is the highest achievement that we have attained from the NAP 2014, meaning you can keep on increasing the manpower usage, and is ever increasing to 62% from 2014 to 18. Next. Exports is similar to the earlier slide. Okay, so the export of CBU also increased. Next. And the supply chain development, we are repeating here again. Okay, next one. Okay, and then the establishment of Center of Excellences. I think Proton has done one Center of Excellence in Shah Alam. Okay, the other companies are still following up, and we have the National Emission Testing Center under MARI and MITI. So these are the pictures given from them. I think that's it, right? Yeah, okay, this all. Okay, so here the list of technology development projects for the ever coming electric vehicles is for the lithium ion, battery charge mechanical thermal system management, battery module packaging, next generation battery technology roadmaps, and lightweight plastic glazing for the automotive industry. So these are the development projects that you can read on, that we are doing also in our UMP. We are doing lightweight plastic glazing for the automotive industry, where we try to use 3D printing, okay, and we scan the body of the car, and we try to use SLM and here SLS also. Okay, so metal and also sintering. Okay, so we try to make components using the new technology available, okay, by using powder-based metals and plastics. All right, I think Anything more? Because the original slide is longer, right? So we share. In our analysis of EEV, okay, is we trying to use the aerodynamic methodology where there is a testing with the CFD, wind tunnel and track. And as you know, the drag coefficient of the car is actually ever going down, and this is why the efficiency of the body design is ever increasing. And nowadays, people are using boat kind of shape for the cars. So this shape is the one that is going to be used for the next 50 years. Okay, so that the car cuts through the wind with very less how to say obstruction. Okay, and it will reduce the pressure drag that is caused by the car. Next one.
That is the last slide, Prof.
Oh, this is the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Initially, I made around 80 slides, right? So now might be stopped here. And is it okay? We can stop, or we?
Yes, Prof. Because after this, we're going to have a Q&A session with audience.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much for this, my short sharing. I hope it is quite informative, and you can use it for your analysis in business schools, right? Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, you can ask any questions.
Right. Thank you, Professor Dr. DEVARAJAN, for the input sharing just now. It is really an eye-opening in knowing more about the current situation in Malaysia automotive industry. Next, we are going to proceed with the question and answer sessions. Audience may ask questions in the chat box below, or you can simply unmute your microphone to ask any questions. Question will be addressed by our speaker shortly after. Audience, you can start to ask questions to Professor Dr. DEVARAJAN.
Yeah, I think it's too sudah malam sangat kot.
Probably they're typing the question right now.
Betul.
All right. Yes.
Betul. I have one question, but I think this one is related to the seminar lah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Okay.
I
think one in the 70s of the world, 1.2 million cars is electric. It need to be a one out of six lah. And I think
yes.
I
we want it to be more actually. We want it to be more. Okay.
East and Northeast Asia plays a dominant role in the global supply of EV consumption batteries.
Mm-hmm.
6 of the top 10 batteries manufacturers in 2021 are from the China Orient. China-based CATL is the world's leading battery giant with its installation volume far exceeding the competitors from the South Korea and Japan. Through the increasing use of the EV car in this world with Tesla, I think so lah. In this area, this era has separated with a growing industry. My question is, what is the doctor's view? Will it have an implication for the world trade policy? Because we know big economy powers like America and China have a quick different policies. And what will be
in a very good position because a lot of their direct FDIs, China's FDIs came from US, and US actually funded China so that they have become bigger and bigger when they produced in 2008, like when they opened the China policy. So they have actually increased their income from the US, and this has caused them to become the next leader. If you see another 5 years or 10 years, I think China will surpass America, and they have already started building electric vehicles in very cheap. They are, of course, you cannot beat them in manufacturing costs because they have very cheap labor, and then they can. Right now, they are going into knowledge-intensive labors also. So they are competing a lot in the world, and they can produce cheap vehicles and hit the market. Like I said, even Tesla, if you say it's a very expensive car, but when you look inside, the components are still coming from China actually. So it is still not that good. Okay, that's why you look at BMW and Mercedes, they are coming in with how to say, this continental kind of cars for the EV, to show that that is the true quality of the equipment that you should have. So actually Teslas are supposed to be very cheap. Betul, Hafiz?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Doctor, one more thing. I think my colleague Harash have one question. Harash, are you there?
Yes.
Right.
Hello, Doctor.
Yes, hello,
Evening.
Harash.
Okay, as we know, the EV, electric vehicle, is a target on luxury vehicle for now, for the time being, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is there any possibility or is there any effort for our manufacturer like Proton and Produa to produce EV car for the low cost car like MyV and Viva?
Okay. I try to answer it as much as I can. By right, this electric technology and so on, it's not big rocket science already, because most of the things are plug and play. Okay, and Proton and Perodua, right? So they can easily go into this market if they have some collaborations with this China manufacturers and the US manufacturers, right? So they can just plug it in, because to make an electric vehicle, even myself and my group in 2008, we were making a Proton Saga model, and we implemented a big motor inside the car, and then we changed the gearbox, we changed everything. Okay, and actually it works lah. But cost wise it is not, because during that time 2008, the price of the battery and the controller, if you're not talking about the other components yet, that one also will reach around 80,000 ringgit already. So it's expensive. So Malaysia, if they want to start, they should have started earlier itself. Proton, actually they started with one electric car project earlier, but somehow it didn't go through. Okay, and it stuck from in the early stages. Okay, if now you want to start it, the problem right now is, like I said earlier, lithium and coal. So these two are big hurdles that you need to confront. This is the reality of current economies. Lithium and coal. Coal meaning power generation from the Tenaga Nasional itself. Okay, so power generation is very expensive right now, and also lithium itself is expensive. So if you want to start to become an electric car manufacturer now, so you need to have a big capital expenditure, okay, so that you can go into the technology. Okay, so I don't know, after COVID and after a big hit into the economy, maybe we should hold for a while. When the price reduce a bit, then we go in. So that's my point of view.
Okay, Doctor. I understand. So so we can conclude that this electric vehicle for sustainability in our country is in future, not in the short period.
It will work. But currently,
long-term effort, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a long-term effort, and it's a long-term investment. Okay, and it's the long-term commitment from all the parties, meaning from the ministry, from the GLCs, and from the manufacturer itself. So if Proton, I'm not talking about Proton, I think it can easily go in. They have a good collaboration with China. I think they should be even getting the new technologies easily with them. Perodua maybe not so, because Perodua is more to Japanese technology is there. So they have to wait for Japan to come and introduce the electric cars.
Okay. Hi, good evening, Doctor. I'm Fahmi from EMBA program. So I just want to ask back to our national automotive policy here. So the main focus of this new national automotive policy was on the new technology elements such as new generation vehicle, mobilization as a service, industry 4.2 and so on. So as one of the person from the academic ground from this industry, I would like to ask you, how ready was our country, Malaysia, in the terms of human capital developing these local talents to tandem with the current and future demand of this automotive and mobility technology in the future? Does our current academic curriculum and practical and technical syllabus teach at our university or any institution are on the same track with these new policy visions? Whether I want to like to know whether our institutions, high institution, are up to date their academic sources with these global changes from time to time, or we just use the same syllabus to teach our talent from the continuous syllabus. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Wan. I think he gave me a very good question. Okay, this question is the key question. Okay, are we giving the students the latest information, and are the students being able to compete in the global scenario so that they have the good knowledge and they can compete with how to say companies? They can work in the good companies and they can generate more income for themselves. Yes. For let's say I'm taking an example for UMP itself, right? So in 2006, when I just came in, we were going to ICE. So we were giving a lot of notes for internal combustion engine, and we were going into like that. But our trend also improved. So we did our research. We went into electric vehicles. We started to make one for my first grant. So we made one working model. Okay, and then we moved on. We moved on to the mobility sector, where we created a bus. Okay, so UMP has this is other researchers. They also make a bus. Okay, so based on this technology, we modified the syllabus. Okay, in which before ICE, after ICE, we also teach them the engine design, which is modified based on the electric vehicles. And we also have subject called EEV, energy efficient vehicle itself. So after the NAP 2014, we introduced this subject to because we had collaboration with MARI, okay, and they're giving us advice so that we make a subject that is in tune with the EEV, and we teach the students what are the EEV. That's what my other part of the slide is about, how the electric vehicle is designed itself. And battery technology, yes, we are moving into that. But this is a bit hard because battery you have to combine with chemicals. You have to combine with electrical guys. So we need more inputs to join and multidisciplinary for us to learn the new technologies of the battery itself. Because mechanical, I'm from mechanical, so mechanical alone we cannot go into that yet. But we are growing. Okay. I think in the future there is new things will come out as we do research. These new things comes in, and we will use it into the syllabus and teach the next generation students. I think that's the question, right, for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor.
All right.
Very clear.
Doctor, good evening. I'm Rashika from Embam Melaka.
Yes.
Based on your presentation just now, do you think Malaysia is ready to be a hub for EEV EEV manufacturing parts, since you mentioned just now we have many vendors and OEMs in our country. So are we ready yet? Thank you, Doctor.
If you talk about Malaysia itself, because I was working in the automotive sector, I was working in DRB. Okay, actually we are very ready even from 2004 onwards. Okay, we have our list of vendors, which is a lot. We have a lot of vendors and a lot of makers. Just for them to be in tier 1 to tier 3, this is where there is a differentiate. So tier one vendors are very highly sought. They are expensive. They make high component, high value components. And then when you go to the lower levels, they are also there, but they make you a cheaper one. So the difference will be materials. But Malaysia is actually ready to be in the vendor stage. Okay, so we are actually there already. Comparing to right now, the rising star is Indonesia. Indonesia is rising very, very fast. Okay, but Malaysia, we already, how to say, kita dah berlari lagi ke depan. But I hope we don't stop and then we don't reduce the momentum and we keep on moving into the next generation so that we can go into this electric vehicle, which is coming soon.
Okay, Doctor. Thank you.
Hello, Doctor. Good evening. I'm Zira from Mbah Melaka. Okay, as we all know, Malaysia used to have the biggest automotive industry in Southeast Asia. And then, however, the country has been overtaken by Thailand and Indonesia in terms of investment by foreign players, total productions and industry volume, and of course export also. So with this new NAP in place, you think can Malaysia catch up with our neighbours?
Okay. Regarding competitors, we are talking about two countries, Thailand and Indonesia. Actually, Indonesia is still not a high automotive country, a high automotive producer yet. But Thailand, even when I was in the industry, they are actually very big. Okay, they are actually OEM manufacturers way before Malaysia because they have direct, they have many countries that's coming into Thailand. Okay, so they are open policy. They can bring in a lot of manufacturers that actually we don't have. So that's why Malaysia actually we need to be competitive and we are actually one step behind Thailand. But with Indonesia, we are actually 2 steps above. Okay, so we need to keep on maintain. And then for Indonesia right now, they are coming in with the new investment from Tesla. Actually, that investment is coming in due to, if we look at it in a different angle, they are coming in due to nickel because Indonesia has a lot of nickel. Okay, so Tesla wants nickel so that they can create their batteries. So that's the reason actually Tesla is going into Indonesia. This is my perspective. Okay, so nickel also is a very hard to get material and very expensive. So Indonesia is there. That's why they're coming in there and they will build Indonesia. Okay, but Thailand wise, they are actually very good in vendors. Actually, they are very, they have more vendors and then they are more tier 1 vendors in Thailand. Okay, let's say you want to make a kangaroo bar for a 4-wheel drive. So normally we will send to Thailand. So Thailand will make that part in less than a week. So these are the capabilities of Thailand and Indonesia.
Faham, Doctor. Thank you.
All right.
Doctor,
yes.
Can I ask one more question?
Can.
Arash. Is there any alternative way, another from electric vehicle for sustainability, for mobility in global?
Okay. This is how to say, there is a lot of methods for alternative vehicles. So we were actually using diesel and petrol. Okay, so these are the first vehicles that we all know for the past 100 years. So the technology explosion came from diesel and petrol. But however, electric vehicles are already there in last time. And nowadays we also got CNG, NGV vehicles, LPG vehicles. LPG vehicles in Malaysia is not so much, but LPG vehicle in Hong Kong is a lot. Okay, then you also now, the latest one that we are researching is about hydrogen.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. So hydrogen as a fuel or fuel cell. So use the fuel cell vehicles.
Oh, for biodiesel.
And also biodiesel. But biodiesel actually is a mixture. So let's say you have diesel. So biodiesel normally is a combination of oil palm and diesel combined together.
Biodiesel because our country is, I think, the top export for palm oil.
Yeah, biodiesel is a way for alternative, but actually it's not the solution lah, because we still rely on the diesel itself. The new one is about green hydrogen, where we make hydrogen from green sources like photovoltaic and electrolysis. So we make from there, and then we use that to make the hydrogen, and then we use the hydrogen for the vehicle implementation. So the new technology will be hydrogen coming up. This is what we are moving in for UMP, but we are still in the research stage for this new fuel.
Sorry, Prof. I have a question. Just a simple
Okay,
one.
thank you.
Thank you, Arash. Okay, Prof, macam ni. I was wondering because you mentioned masa early part tadi you mentioned about this EV car or electric cars will cost around 400,000 to 500,000. It's either BMW or Mercedes or Tesla, you know. It has to be a luxury car. It is not something yang macam tadi kalau terms yang kita pakai sebelum ni is kereta rakyat lah. Dia bukan kereta rakyat kan. Jadi Prof, are you seeing that there is a in future or somewhere near somewhere soon lah there is a possibility for us yang tak payah T lah B40 ke katalah T20 pun secara realistiknya memang tak mampu nak beli, Prof. So is there any possibilities that eventually this EEV or somewhere in near future that the price of the car is going to be affordable for Malaysians? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Noor. This question, because right now, after COVID, okay, and after COVID, a lot of material price has gone up for no reason actually. For no reason, there's no particular reason. 2020 until 2022 now, like I said, lithium price has gone up. It's crazy. I don't know why it's going up. Okay, actually, the main reason is because a lot of people are dumping money and they want to be in that race so that they earn a lot. And these people, at one point, they will tarik keluar their money. When they take it out, that price will go down. Okay, so when they don't have a floor for that thing, that will fall. And this because right now we have to use this high income people to use Mercedes and BMWs. So they will actually BMW and Mercedes. Actually, I'm not against them. They are actually very good cars, and they create vehicles that are, you buy this vehicle very expensive because their technology is 10 years in advance. Okay, like my friend, he has one Mercedes which is around 15 years old. But that 15-year-old car already has all the technology that the new Honda already has. So they already has you are buying Mercedes, you are buying the latest technology now that you can use 10 years down the road. Okay, that's why this rich people, okay, they can use this for them to get an easy life, okay, with the current money. So that's the difference between BMW. But when you talk about Honda and Myvi and Prodo, right, we will get it, but maybe down the road, 5 years or 10 years. Okay, we will get it when the price is going down and coal price also go down. I think the coal price will go down.
All right, thank you so much, Prof.
Okay.
Thank you to Professor Dr. Devarajan, as Dr. Noor Melissa's question will be the last answer for our Q&A session for tonight. Again, thank you to Professor Dr. Devarajan for all the answer, and I hope all the question arise has been cleared out. As the Q&A session for slot 2 ended, we have reached the end of our sharing session for tonight. Hopefully, Professor Dr. Devarajan input today will provide students with new perspective on current technological advances in automotive industry. And now, we will proceed with photography session with Professor Dr. DEVARAJAN. I would like to ask for your cooperation to turn on your camera for this session. Now, technical team.
Okay, everyone's ready. We will take the formal picture first. 1, 2, 3, smile. Again, for the freestyle. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And again, thank you so much to Professor Dr. DEVARAJAN for coming to our webinar tonight. And to accept our invitation to share the knowledge on the breakthrough of the National Automotive Policy 2020. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Noor, and thank you, UiTM Melaka.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Professor.
Prof. Thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you so
a
much.
pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Next, I will be passing the floor to our fellow committee, Saudara Muhammad Hanif Roslan, for the next agenda of tonight.
Thank you, Saudari Zulaika. So hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Hanif and I'll be hosting the Kahoot session. For your UiTM student participant, please insert your matrix card number with your nickname. For other participants, please put your nickname. The 5th place winner will receive 10 ringgit. The 4th and 3rd place winner will receive a cash reward of 15 ringgit. The 2nd place winner will receive 20 ringgit and the 1st place winner will receive 30 ringgit. So without further ado, please click the link in the chat box to join. 2 minutes will be given for the participant to join before we will start the session.
Okay, as we're waiting for participants to join our Kahoot sessions, so Hanif, what do you think about the talk?
For me, the talk is quite eye-opening. For somebody that had little to none knowledge regarding EV, I have gained a lot since the talk.
Do you think, would you ever consider to purchase any EV or electric vehicle in future?
Of course, in the future, I will be considering purchasing the Porsche Taycan in the future.
Yeah.
Despite it being expensive, I think it's worth it if Malaysia has a lot of charging port for the cars.
Yes, I do think that electric vehicles is very sustainable for our future growth, our Malaysia future growth. But yeah, I'm hopefully there's going to be like a few more cheaper options for electric vehicle in future. Who knows, right?
Yeah, of course. But regarding the first speaker, it has been said that we get a tax rebate of 2,500 ringgit. For me, that's a lot.
Okay, we're going to wait for another maybe 1 minute. For
Another 1 minute. Another 1 minute is quite good.
Okay, for audience, please mind that there's going to be 5 minutes for this Kahoot sessions. So the first winner going to win 30 ringgit. So if you guys are planning to get any extra cash tonight, you guys can join this Kahoot session, okay?
Okay, participants, be reminded that the faster you answer the questions, the more points you will get.
Okay, can we start the Kahoot session now or we wait for another?
I think we give another 30 seconds.
Okay, 10
Because right now
seconds,
it's
okay?
only 40%.
Audience, do join the Kahoot session because you know the more the merrier. There's going to be 5 minutes, so there's a higher possibility for you guys to win cash prizes, okay? Okay, right now, how many participants in the Kahoot session?
Right now we have 42 people.
Okay, I think we can start the Kahoot session now, okay?
Alright, starting Kahoot.
Okay, the first question.
The first question is, which level of the NAP is being developed to enhance Malaysia's automotive industry?
Okay, this is based on the speaker's presentations.
Yeah, is it NAP 2014 or is it NAP 2020? Which one do you think, Zulaika?
I think the answer is going to be the yellow one. Is it?
Yellow one, NAP 2020. Are you sure?
I'm probably wrong. I'm not sure.
Alright, you're right.
Okay, I got the answer correct. Okay, it's okay. There's quite a lot of people got this question wrong.
Alright. Azul Izwan Shah is on the lead.
We have
Next
10
question.
questions. Don't worry, guys.
Infrastructure agencies are involved in Malaysia's electric vehicle ecosystem?
So is it Shell?
Shell, Caltex, Petronas, or Petron?
What do you think, Hanif?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's Shell.
Yeah, I think it's Shell also.
Yeah, I think
Right,
it's
let's
Shell.
see. Yes.
Yeah, it's Shell.
Oh my God, that's the thing. People got this question wrong, but it's okay. We still have another 8 questions to go. You guys still have chance.
Alright.
Don't worry.
Raiden E is on the lead with Afifo on the second and Daniel Faisi on the third.
Okay, this is the third question.
How much money invested between 2014 and 18 while the NAP 2014 was in force? Well, this is the tricky question because the amount is
It's all
the
the
amount
answers quite
is
similar.
yeah, it's quite similar.
I think it's 10.3.
I think it's 10.5 if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yep, I got it right.
Yeah,
It's 10.5.
5. Yeah. Okay.
Alright. Raiden E is still on the lead with Daniel Faisi coming in second and Aina Im coming in third.
Okay, this is the fourth question, guys. You still have a chance. Don't worry.
What was the name of the first electric vehicle released in Malaysia?
Oh, I think this question is quite obvious. But let's
Well,
see.
it's quite tricky actually.
Oh,
All over
really?
yeah, take a look. It's
Oh,
everything
okay,
is
I can say. But I think
it's the green one.
yeah, my car. Oh, it's okay. But quite a lot of people got this question correct.
Yeah, Daniel
Seems like
Faisi
everybody
is on the lead.
focused during the talk. Okay, this is the fifth question.
Which of these statements below are the key achievements of NAP 2014?
Okay, this one I'm not sure, but I think is it all of the options?
I think it's all of the options if I'm not mistaken. All of these are the achievement in NAP 2014.
Okay, let's see. Oh, okay.
Yep, it's right.
Oh, only 3 people got this question wrong. Okay, this is the fifth question or the sixth question?
It's got to be the next question, is the sixth.
This is the sixth question.
What company is the most successful in the field of electric vehicle?
Oh my god, okay, this is obvious
I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
Really obvious.
But let's see if is there anyone going to get this answer wrong?
No, I think what we have to do is let Hanif give the answer because all his answer is correct. Seems daripada soalan satu ni.
Alright. Oh, still people got this question wrong, but it's so cute. I think Hanif already know all the answer.
Itulah jawapan dia dah ada dah jawapan bocor ni.
No, madam, no, I don't have the answers. How much does a ton of lithium batteries currently cost? Is it? I think it's 470,000 ringgit, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, let's see.
It could be.
Is it
100,000
IM or
ringgit.
USD?
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's USD.
The answer is 470,000.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is the second last question, guys.
Alright, how many units were sold and produced for the status of automotive industry? Between 200,000.
Hanif, what will be the answer for this question?
This one I don't know. For sure, I don't know.
Okay, Hanif. Okay, let's see.
Let's see who got it correct, right?
Because, oh, okay, the answer is the blue one, between 500,000 to 600,000.
That's quite
Oh,
a lot.
still 2029 57493 is on the lead. Okay, this is the last. This is the second last question. I'm sorry. This is the second last question.
How many jobs opportunities were created between 2014 and 2018 according to MITI's NAP 2020 booklet? Now, this is a tricky question.
Okay, I also not sure what to be the answer for this.
The answers are
Oh,
that's a lot of
okay.
job opportunities made.
Oh, because this is in the manufacturing sector. I think it's one
That's
of the
quite a
biggest
lot.
contribution to Malaysia, right? So it's a logical answer to have that kind of job opportunity. Okay, this is the last question.
Last question is the
I'm excited to know who's going to be the first winner that going to bring 30 ringgit home tonight.
The NFP 2020's main goal is to establish Malaysia as regional automotive hub, the development of NXGV, MAS and RL 4.0. Is it true or false?
Oh, this is a true and false answer.
Well, it could be a gamble, 50-50.
Yes. Okay, so the answer
Okay,
is
only
true.
2 people got it wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. 2 people that got this answer wrong.
Alright, and the winner is coming in third place is Daniel 5C. Congrats. Second place is Afifur Rifki.
And the first winner?
The first winner is 2020 95 74 93. Alright.
Siapa 2020 95 74 93 ni?
Saya tak sure, madam. Anyways,
Anybody? Tolong bagi tahu siapakah anda? Kelas mana?
Saya rasa ni kelas 5C, madam.
Kelas 5C
Okay. Congratulations to our winners. Please screenshot the podium with your name on the screen and do contact our committee to claim your prize in the chat box below. Thank you, everybody. That's enough from me, Hanif. And now it's over to our MC, Saudari Zulaika.
Thank you everyone for your participation and congratulations to our winner. Please remind that if you are among that 5 winner, do contact our committee at 0124176284 to claim your prizes, okay? Again, congratulations to all the winners. And before we end our webinar tonight, I would like to invite Saudara Hafizuddin to present the video on the recitation of Doa Rabita.
اللهم إنك تعلم أن هذه القلوب قد اجتمعت على محبتك والتقت على طاعتك وتوحدت على دعوتك وتعاهدت على نصرة شريعتك فوثق اللهم رابطاتها وأدم ودها واهدها سبلها واملأها بنورك الذي لا يخبو واشرح صدورها بفيض الإيمان بك يا الله engkau mengetahui hati-hati ini telah berkumpul kerana kasihkanmu bertemu dan patuh padamu bersatu memikul dakwamu. Hati-hati ini telah berjanji setia mendaulat dan menyokong syariatmu maka eratkanlah akan ikatannya kekalkan kemesraan hati ini tunjukkan ia jalan yang sebenar limpahkan dengan cahaya banimu yang tak pernah padam dan lapangkan dengan iman.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you for the presentation of Doa Rabita, Saudara Hafizuddin. Before everyone leave, I would like to ask for your cooperation to fill in the registration form by clicking on the link in the chat box below, or you can just simply scan the QR code that appear on your screen right now, okay? Again, thank you so much everyone, and we have reached the end of our Malaysia Automotive Policy Towards Sustainability webinar. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank everyone for attending our webinar tonight, and I would like to apologize for any mistake made throughout the event. That is all from me. I am Zulaika Zakifli, your MC for tonight. Goodbye and stay safe everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Good job. Nice event. Successful. It's successful. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. See you guys. Bye.
Thank you,
Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone.
Bye all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Baik,
Everyone for joining.
Best Kahoot.
Thank you everyone.
Yang menang tu kroni saya nak beritahu.
Oh yeah.